What is good, good people? You are now listening to another episode of At the Plate with Danny Foxworth. I am your humble narrator, Danny Foxworth, and once again, we're joined by an extremely special guest. He's born and raised in Arizona, currently residing in Sacktown. We got my man Retro Rob in the building. Rob, what's good, bro?
What's good, Danny? How you doing, man? Good to be
Man,
here.
absolutely, man. Good to have you on, man. So, just a brief rundown here. So, what were your earliest baseball memories growing up in Arizona?
Man, so my earliest baseball memories for myself was playing t-ball and hitting the ball, running to third base, not first. And then, yeah, that was my first little snafu on the field. And then as far as pro ball goes, like just going to spring training games with my dad up in Tucson. The Indians used to spring train up there, so that's really where I became my fandom there. My pops, he's originally from Cleveland, so that's where he became a fan.
Okay, word.
Yeah,
So, what were some of your favorite moments with the Indians?
man, there's so many. Um, there's a lot of classic moments, if you want to be honest, with the whole Cleveland franchise. A lot of heartbreak, as many know. We haven't won a World Series in forever. I think we have the longest drought now since the Cubs beat us in 2016. I think our last World Series was 1948.
Oh, wow.
So lots of heartbreak for me, especially in the 90s when we had squads. In the 90s, we had Kenny Lofton, Albert Bell, Manny Ramirez, Charles Nagy. We even had Oral Hershiser, the Bulldog. So like some of my favorite memories, because Kenny Lofton is my favorite Indian of all time. So
Yeah,
uh, my favorite memory of him is back in the it was the '95 ALCS when he took home on a pass ball from Randy Johnson from second base,
that's crazy.
which is crazy and unheard of. The dude had speed, and a lot of people don't know that he was a two-sport athlete.
Mm-hmm.
He played college ball for U of A, which is my favorite college, and played for Lute Olson, and he held the steals record for a while too at U of A. I think until Jason Terry broke it in like '98. Um, but yeah, man, Kenny Lofton was a stud. That was like probably my favorite memory. And then even going back to that era, Albert Bell. So I don't know if you remember the whole cork bat
Absolutely. Yes.
scenes, right?
Yes.
So there was that one game when the White Sox they got privy to the idea that he had some cork bats, and I think it was I forgot who the coach was at the time, but he called out the umpires and they basically confiscated Bale's bat that he had that game. And then during the game it was going on, Jason Grimsley, who was a relief pitcher, but he wasn't pitching that day. He like snuck up in the dugout or into the office and like made his way over into the umpire's room and stole the bat and switched it out with a Paul Sorrento bat that was not corked.
Wow.
Um, yeah, so and you could see how obvious that would be, right? When the umpires go back and they pull the bat out and they're like, Paul Sorrento, you know what I mean? Like this Paul Sorrento's bat. This ain't Albert Bell.
Yeah.
So like the Indians ended up getting like a little caught up with that with Bud Selig. I think Albert got a 10-game suspension. Um, and later on, Omar Vizquel wrote a book basically saying that all of Albert's bats were corked, which is kind of a shame to hear because Albert put
Yeah.
up some big numbers. He was the first guy who had 50 home runs, 50 doubles back in '95. And that was in a short season too because the strike had happened the year
Mm-hmm.
prior. And so he put up 50 in 143 games, which was pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's
Um,
wild.
yeah, man. And then my other, recent favorite, memory, 2016 when we got to the World Series, that was really unexpected that season. I know we had some young guys. I love Francisco Lindor,
Mm-hmm.
Jose Ramirez, but we got all the way there, and I thought again we were gonna have it, from the Cubs, and it went to Game 7, unfortunately. And I'm sure you remember the Game 7 with Raja Davis hit that home run that basically, I believe, it tied the game up, and then the game went to extra innings, and then there was kind of like a little rain delay, which a lot of Cleveland fans are like, that was just, God saying that y'all ain't gonna win this World Series again. And then Jason Hayward gave like that famous speech in the dugout or in the locker room to the Cubs players, and they came out and won that game and took the World Series from us. So that was real painful, almost as painful as '97 with the Florida Marlins. Um, we went game 7 games in that series as well. And Tony Fernandez had a huge error in that game in the ninth inning that kind of kept or opened up the door for the Marlins to come back on Jose Mesa. And Edgar Renteria ended up hitting that bases loaded single up the middle right off of
Yep.
Charles Nagy's glove, like
Yep.
right off the tip of his mitt, man. So that was another heartbreaker. I think that was the first time I cried about a baseball game, man.
Them pesky Sox, man.
Oh man, it was painful. It was painful.
Man, I remember like Sandy Alomar because like I
Yeah,
talked about in the previous episode when I was talking about the hometown team, the Charleston Rainbows. He was the first like notable player that I remember watching because he played for the Charleston Rainbows back in the like mid to late '80s. Like him and his brother.
yeah,
And I remember them, and I remember watching
yeah.
Carlos
Roberto.
Baerga. Yeah, and Carlos Baerga played for the Rainbows too. And it was just the coolest thing to see them literally start like at single A in my hometown, and then they go on to just become household names in Major League Baseball, especially Sandy Alomar. I mean, he played
Oh yeah,
God almost like 20 seasons or something close to it
yeah, man.
because he was in the league for a
Yeah,
while.
something close to it. He was. He's still in the league coaching. He's our first base coach right now for
Really?
the Indians. So he's just entrenched in our history.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. He's still coaching. And what was crazy about Sandy, like he was my dad's favorite player back then too, because like if you recall the Indians, they just had some real dark years back, like from 1960 to like up until like the 80s. They were just terrible. And I remember my dad saying, when I was little, he's like, this guy Sandy Alomar Jr. is going to change the franchise. He's gonna make us winners. And sure as heck, man, Sandy stuck around, and he was like that captain of our team, big 6'5" catcher. Could hit, could field, could do everything.
Yeah.
Great locker room guy. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, Sandy Alomar is definitely goes down as one of my favorites too, for sure. Um,
100%.
yeah, for sure.
So, who are some of your favorite non-Cleveland players?
Favorite non-Cleveland players, man.
It can
Probably King Griffey
okay.
Jr. Yeah, King Griffey Jr. I know back in the '90s, Kenny Lofton was always battling with him for like the Gold Glove in center field.
Yep.
Obviously Kenny had that, or Griffey had that power, but Kenny had that speed. He had the defense, and they both were notorious for jumping up the fence and robbing home runs.
Yep.
So I really love the kid. I love the fact that when he'd do the home run derby, he'd flip his hat back around.
Yeah.
So, and I had the cleats, I had the baseball batting gloves. Like, so I was a big Griffey fan for sure. And then outside of Griffey, probably, man, probably I'd probably go with Barry Bonds, man. Like a lot of people don't particularly care for Barry, but I thought Barry was, is one of the greatest baseball players ever, and it's a shame that he's not recognized in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, people want to assume that he did some stuff. He never was caught. You know what I mean? Like there's always that, but coordination for that guy and being able to, hit the ball. Like, I don't care how many steroids you take, it ain't going to help you hit a fastball that's 100 miles an hour. You still got to have that hand-eye coordination and just the knowingness of the strike zone. That guy, like, you
Mm-hmm.
had to put it in the zone for him to even swing. he wasn't chasing nothing,
You
so
you took the
go
words
ahead.
right out of my mouth. I was going to say one of the most underrated aspects of Barry Bonds' game was his plate discipline. It was
Yes,
unreal.
yes,
Like
unbelievable.
just routinely led the league in walks.
Yep. Yeah. Even like with the intentional walks, like, obviously they were intentionally walking them, but combine that with the fact that with his plate discipline, it's incredible, man. He like, so, I've seen some stats about he had more walks than guys had hits. Like it's just ridiculous. Like we probably will never see that again in our lifetimes
Yeah,
of somebody with that kind of play discipline and like the fear that he put into the opposing pitchers and the managers of like we don't want to pitch to this guy.
yeah, 100%. Were there any least favorite Indians players that you had?
Least favorite, yeah, Jose Mesa, Jose Mesa for
Yeah.
sure. I'm not a big fan of Jose. He kind of was, uh, you know, he wasn't the greatest dude, from what I heard and read about. I know him and Omar Vizquel had some beef. And even with Omar, there's been some stuff that happened outside of baseball that wasn't the best. No one here to judge a man's character, but you know, and then Roberto Alomar. I wasn't a huge fan of him. Like
Hmm.
his previous stuff when he was in Baltimore and Toronto. I didn't really respect him when he was spitting on the umpires and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. So him, and then other Indians players I didn't really care for. Uh, you know, it's kind of with Albert Bell, man. Like I liked Albert, but Albert wasn't a nice guy. I went to spring training a lot of times, and I was always afraid to go up to Albert and ask for an autograph because his nickname was Snapper. Like
Oh,
his yeah
wow.
his teammates called him Snapper because he would snap at any time, any given place. You really never knew what kind of mood he was in. He always had this scowl on his face. So, and then I don't know if you remember the story, back in '95 with Halloween when those kids went and egged his house.
No.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, bro.
please talk about that.
So yeah, man, Albert Bell. I think it was 1995 Halloween incident with some kids that came to his house on Halloween and they egged his house. And Albert caught wind of it, saw them like running off. He jumped in his truck and chased these kids down, and was gonna put a beating on them. Just some kids,
Yeah.
out being mischievous on Halloween, and he freaked out, man, and he ended up getting in trouble for that. Like I think he got like a some type of charge. I forgot what it was, but yeah, man, he chased some kids down just for egging his house. I was like, that's the last dude that I would try to do something with. I
Yeah.
was, like I said, I was scared to go up and ask him for an autograph. You know what I mean? And he
Hmm.
kind of just had that stigma about him. When he first came to the Indians, he was called, his name was Joey Bell.
Yeah. You. Oh,
He
that's right.
Yeah, he wasn't known as Albert then, and he had a drinking problem. I think he went to rehab, and he got kicked out of some leagues, just for like punching people and just fighting in the like. I think he snapped in on one when he was in the minors. He snapped and like tore up the whole locker room with a bat, just ripped it all apart.
Damn.
Um, and then there was another incident in spring training where he and some guy was heckling him out in the outfield. I wasn't at this game when it happened, but it's well documented. Some dude was heckling him, and Albert just straight from like left field just took a ball and chucked it and hit the dude right in the chest.
Mm, damn.
Yeah, man. So, uh, I loved his play on the field. The dude was intense. He was an intense competitor. I respected that, but outside of that, man, he was a scary dude. You know, I, it was kind of scary to be around that guy and try to even just come up and talk to him. So
Yeah, you hear the stories about how much of a malcontent he was, but I didn't realize it was to that extent. Holy smokes.
yeah, man. If you look it up, man, there's a lot of stories on Albert that aren't too good. You know, but hey, I think that kind of like some people, that plays into how good they become. You know what I mean? I think Albert had to be that way to really kind of focus in and be the best that he could be.
Yeah.
So I really can't hate on him for that. But yeah, he wasn't the nicest dude, man. He would
Yeah.
definitely be on baseball's, starting nine, a-holes of the league.
Man, yeah, I'll definitely have to look into those stories, man.
Yeah.
So now we're going to get into the 5 question segment. So first and last question are the same question I ask every guest I have on here. And questions 2 through 4 are going to be 100% random. So question number 1, what were Rob's ideal school lunch items?
Oh, my school lunch items, man. So back in the day, Gushers. So I
Ooh.
don't remember if you remember the Gushers,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
The Gushers were the bomb. I know they make them now, but they just don't seem the same.
Yeah.
But like Gushers was definitely one of my top school items, like for lunch. Um, then other than that, like mom's always hooked it up with a PB&J sandwich, so that was bomb. I had that.
What jelly did you go with?
My oh man, I went with raspberry. So
Okay.
raspberry or strawberry, one of those two. Yeah, and mom always hooked me up with a great lunch. So because like all the other kids would come and like look at my lunch pail and be like, "What can we get? Let me get some of them gushers. Let me get that fruit roll up." Like I love fruit roll ups too.
Yeah.
That was another staple. So mom always hooked me up with a great lunch. Um, and then maybe like a bag of barbecue chips. The Lay's barbecue chips were the bomb.
Yeah.
Maybe some Funyuns, some classic Funyuns.
Yeah, you
So
can't
yeah,
ever
those are probably my lunch items.
Yeah, you can't ever go wrong with those.
No, never.
Question number 2. If you were a player, what would your walk-up music be?
Oh man, that's a great question. Uh, Probably like because I'm a big hip hop fan, so it would definitely be some hip hop. Maybe like some Only God Could Judge Me,
Okay.
Tupac. You know what I mean? I love Pac. Definitely hip hop though. I would do some
Yeah.
hip hop. Maybe do a little electric relaxation.
Oh, I
Before
like that. Okay.
just throw that one on there. Get the crowd. Because that's a great beat. Like the way
It
that beat
is.
kicks off. That would be a cool little walk up song too. So probably be Only God Can Judge Me, All Eyes on Me, maybe. And then electric relaxation would definitely probably be on there too.
Great choices. Great choices. Question number 3. If you could be any animal, what animal would you be?
Man, any animal. Man, probably a lion. A lion or a tiger, man, because they the king. They're the top of the food chain.
Yeah.
Other than that, maybe like a great white shark too. I think that would be cool. You basically swim all through the ocean, and nobody's really messing with you except the orca, maybe.
Yeah.
Killer whales have been taking them out here lately, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. The
Uh,
whales, well, they've been putting up numbers this year.
they have, bro. And what's crazy is they get one, and then all the other sharks just take off. They're like,
Yeah.
"We out of here," like Johnny got eaten. We gone.
That might, you know what? That might be the name of this episode. Johnny got eaten. We go.
Yeah.
Question number 4.
But,
What's your favorite restaurant from your hometown?
oh man, definitely, probably either Cactus Corners, which was like a pizza joint that we had right around the corner from where I lived. We used to get pizza from there all the time. Either that or and then in Tucson, there's some great Mexican food in Tucson. Southern Arizona's got some excellent Mexican food. So probably El Charro is a good one. That's probably like when I go back and visit because I still got family there. My older brother lives there. I got cousins, my nephew. I usually go back once a year to watch a U of A basketball game. So when I go back, I usually hit up El Charro or Casa Molina is another really good one.
Okay, cool, cool. How about in Sacktown? What's a good restaurant recommendation?
Ooh man, Sacramento got some good eats. Depending on what you want, man, they because it's so diverse in Sacramento. You got tons of diversity here. So you got all kinds of different Afghan food. You get some Russian food, whatever. But yeah, they got a lot of good food. So my recommendation probably like you know this place called the Tower Cafe. They got like the best breakfast, man. Like a lot of people that come to Sacramento or that are from Sacramento always like when they come back to town, they go to Tower Cafe and get that French toast. That Tower
Nice.
Cafe French toast.
Nice. And last question. What was the last thing that really made you laugh?
Oh man, that's a good question, bro. Man, really made me laugh. Probably, actually, it just happened last night. Actually, I don't know if you know Damien,
Mhm.
my boy Damien Perkins.
Of course, I'm gonna I'm
Uh,
gonna I'm gonna get into him. I'm gonna bring him up in the after this.
yeah, right on, dude. So he sent a text last night during the Jets game that made me drop my phone and laugh. Like it was. I don't know if I want to like repeat the text message, but he made a comment something about how the Jets and and the towers and stuff like this, and I was like, oh
Oh,
my god, bro, like
yeah.
ooh, like that, but it was a joke though, you know what I mean? Like that's just Damien, if you know how Damien is, he be
Yeah,
saying
very
some
very problematic things.
yes,
But it's very humorous problematic things.
yeah, it's very humorous. If you know him, you'll understand that like the
Yeah.
humor to it. And yeah, dude, that guy makes me laugh big time, man.
Yeah. I mean, he's effortless with it too. Matter of fact, Damien, I still got to get you on to talk about your Angels. And
Yes.
while we're on the subject of Damien, he actually asked me told me to ask you about the time that he broke your nose.
Of course he did. Man, this dude, man, he didn't break my nose. So what had happened was we was wrestling, like, cause we went to high school together. I've known that dude since 1995, man. We go way back. Like he's like a brother to me. I was just in his wedding back in March. He got married to his beautiful wife, Christine in Cabo. So, congratulations to them again. But yeah, man, we was wrestling like we were big WWF fans back in the day. It wasn't WWE yet,
Yeah.
and so we was always wrestling, doing moves on each other, and we was in his bedroom, and I was trying to get up from a move. I was on the ground. I got up, and he was kind of standing above me, and he just pushed my head down, like right into my own knee,
Oh
and
no.
yeah, it broke my nose.
What a jerk.
Yeah, what a jerk, right? Yeah, Perk the jerk. That's his nickname, bro. Perk the jerk.
I like
That's
that.
his
I
nickname,
like
bro.
that.
Because yeah, man, we used to do some messed up stuff to each other. We were kids. We like in high school, we took classes together, and this fool would hit. We would hit each other with rulers. He would throw his keys at me. Like, it was like, pain to that kid is humor. You know what I mean? Like
Oh
he
man.
come up to you and put you in some pain and laugh.
What is his deal?
He's a special being. He's a special dude, man. But yeah, man, Damien, that's my guy, man. That's my brother.
Word up. And again, Damien, I got to get you on this podcast, man, because you are just an endless source of entertainment.
He
So,
is, man.
Rob, if there's anything you want to plug or promote, the floor is yours.
Yeah, man. No, I just want to say thank you to you, Danny. Definitely for reaching out to me. Getting me on here. This is my first time doing something like this, really.
Okay.
Jumping on a pod and talking about something I love. I love baseball. I love sports. So definitely I want to give a kudos to you, bro. I follow the show. I've been sharing the pod to everybody else. So
Man,
hopefully your your
thank
fo-
you.
your, your followers have gone up.
Appreciate it.
You know what I mean? So just want to give a shout out to you, bro. Other than that, I really don't got much else to plug other than, to everybody, just be kind to yourselves and enjoy life, man. It's short.
There you go. Great way to wrap the show up. So thank you for listening. Make sure you like, download, subscribe, tell a friend about the podcast like Rob did. Make sure you follow my YouTube channel. You can subscribe at Danny Foxworth 843. I'm almost at 100 subscribers. So again, tell a friend. I'm at like 87 right now. And
We gonna
you
get
can
that up. We gonna get that up.
yes, sir. And you can catch the video version of this podcast on my YouTube channel. And for Rob and myself, this has been another episode of At the Plate with Danny Foxworth. And until next time, y'all be good. 3 strikes.
Right on.